And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it feels good to be king. Booch, it's time, my friend. Time for you to acknowledge me. Yes. And while you're at it, you can go ahead and acknowledge the Philadelphia Eagles too, as they will be appearing in this year's Super Bowl. A little crossover action here. Made a bet in Wenz world with an associate, Radio Griff. If you haven't seen that episode, I advise you to check out my YouTube channel and see what Griffin has still yet to do nearly a week after our bet that he was so confident on. He was so confident. You're not a fan of football, it's fine. You don't have to listen to the whole thing. Just listen for the part where he puts his social media equity on the line.
Ooh.
Where his mouth is. So I'm still waiting for him to do. I'm still waiting for it. So Griff, if you're listening, and you should be, do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we are with a man that always follows through, the one and only, the wrestling encyclopedia, Vincent Kennedy Bucci, loser for the fourth time.
Yeah. Technically this was a tie, but he is still the champ, so he gets to gloat.
Wait, let's check the bylaws. Let's double check in case there have been changes.
Because you know there can be changes.
Appendices G, sub-appendices L, paragraph 3. Yep. Tie. Clear. It's written in invisible ink. We do that on purpose. That way you people can't steal the bylaws and write your own wrestling podcast. It takes a lot more than you think, ladies and germs. But here we are. Booch, I'm so excited, if you can't tell. Again, winner in Wenz World of the prediction pay-per-view. I'm on a roll, ladies and gents.
He has been
cruising. It's that Philly magic. It's a Philly thing, baby. It's time to acknowledge me. It's time to acknowledge the Philadelphia Eagles and the results of the Royal Rumble. Booch, we're going to go through quickly to discuss who won, but then we're going to go back through and do our classic analysis.
Yes.
We're going to kvetch, as they say in the Yiddish community. We're going to complain. We're going to grumble, but we're also going to gloat and look ahead positively to things coming up. We have Elimination Chamber coming up, fast and furious here. We're going to do a prediction show on that. Lots more of that to come, but it's officially WrestleMania season because we have a Royal Rumble winner. And that winner came in at 30, late for chicken dinner. He didn't come in at number 1 like Gunther, with more energy coming in at number 1 at the very end of the match, more better cardio than number 30. Much more to be said about that nugget. But I think you kind of know where this is going, Booch. Cody Rhodes wins the men's 2023 Royal Rumble. You nailed it. That was your first pick. That was I think this is what WWE is probably going to do if they screw it up and botch it and claim that The Rock doesn't have time for a 45-minute match. Come on.
Apparently he doesn't.
One of 2 nights. Stop. I don't want to hear it. And I got some heat on Twitter for it, but you know what? I'm here for it. So let's do it, baby.
Exactly.
Bray Wyatt got the dub as I predicted.
Yes.
That's the best of my old pair of LA Knights.
Yes,
back to the closet, to the back of the closet, my old pair of LA Knights, along with your 40-plus-year-old wrestler. Just kidding. He's really good. You were right. He is really good. The thing that would have made it better was if I could see what was going on. The pitch black match didn't help. Like obviously when he did the suplex on the announce table and the paint went everywhere, then I could finally see it. And then, after the match is what we'll talk about, which was the best part in my view. That's great. Bianca Belair defeating Alexa Bliss, as I predicted.
Yes.
To retain the Raw Women's Championship. Great match. We'll talk about that. Alexa Bliss looked like she was going to win for much of it, but, nice little swerve there. Rhea Ripley winning. We talked a lot about this before we hit the record button, Booch. Winning in style.
Yes.
Beating one of your least favorite wrestlers. Not talking about Charlotte Flair for once, living rent-free in your head, Booch. Roman Reigns getting the best of Kevin Owens. We all knew this was going to happen. It was just going to be a matter of how it was done, how it was accomplished. But what happened and the the aftermath and the emotion and the storyline that they're selling, man, it's just gripping. It's just it's like the flu. It just gets you and holds you. But
Yes,
this one doesn't make you cough as much, and I'm grateful for that.
absolutely.
So all that said, let's go back, run it back to the top, Booch.
Yes.
Talk about the men's Royal Rumble match. You called it, so hey, listen, you get bragging rights.
This was a great Royal Rumble. Some people were disappointed that there weren't any like surprises, but I still thought it was a great Rumble nonetheless. There are some NXT guys I would have liked to have seen in this match. Mostly because I've got a gut feeling there's a few of them that are going to be called up very soon. One in particular is the current NXT champion, because at the time that we're sitting here talking, they're having their first out of state pay-per-view NXT in like 3 years. So they're actually going to Charlotte, North Carolina for this one. And there's a guy there by the name of Braun Breaker. For those of you who may not know, he is the son of Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, and also the nephew of Big Papa Pump.
Holla if you hear me.
If you hear him speak, he sounds exactly like his uncle. He has got amazing charisma, amazing in-ring skill. He was very green when he first became NXT champion, but over the last year or so, couple years, he has really come into his own as a competitor. I feel like he could make a smash on the main roster. Plus, the guy that he's facing is ready to be champion. So I was hoping to see a little bit of Braun Breaker in the Rumble, just to get a little taste if the fans were ready for him. Now, some of you might remember him from the Raw after WrestleMania, where he beat Dolph Ziggler to win back the NXT title. So some of you caught a glimpse of him. But unless you're watching NXT regularly, which I know the Wenz does not, and I'm not penalizing him for that, you see how incredibly talented Braun Breaker is, how he's gotten. He is very much like, he has a little bit of his dad in him, and he has a little bit of his uncle's attitude as well, but it's not over the top. It's just enough to where he's still his own person, and it's a good blend. So I look forward to seeing what he does if he gets called up. So I would like to have seen him in the Rumble, but still, I enjoyed the majority of it. I did hate the fact that Rey Mysterio wasn't in it, even though they kind of teased him. I found out later he got injured in the match with Karrion Kross on SmackDown. That's why he wasn't here. But they did have something planned between him and Dominic that was going to happen in the Rumble, because they're trying to set up the two of them for Mania. That's why they've kept them apart for so long, because they want to wait till now to have the father-son blow-off match at Mania to kind of silence this whole thing. But overall, Austin Theory did incredible. Brock Lesnar was great. The elimination for Bobby Lashley is great, because now they're trying to set that up, because now the talk is Lashley Lesnar final battle at Mania. So it's perfect to set that up. We knew there was going to be a return of Cody Rhodes, but we got one surprise we didn't expect. The social media king himself, Logan Paul, shows up in the Rumble.
Oh, can I just say,
yes.
I want to, the moment with Ricochet, I literally yelled, "Oh my God." Like, that was so amazing. That was one of the best things I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And I've been watching for a very long time. They matched each other's energy. It was a perfect spot. It couldn't have been done any better. And I thought, are there wires? There have to be. The way they met in the air, if you froze that, you would be like, how did they get there? There's no way they could have gotten there unless they were dropped,
Yeah. And what I loved about it was, normally I hate spots like that in matches, but they made it believable, because they were staring each other down, saying, you want to go, let's see. And then they jump and then collide. So it was believable. And I love believability. And then, of course, Logan Paul throwing out Seth Rollins was perfect.
Oh, that sets up some future heat. I like it.
Because there's now talk of the two of them colliding at Mania. That's going to be Logan Paul's match, him and Seth, which is perfect, because Logan Paul obviously needs another win, because he got eliminated in the Rumble and lost the Tribal Chief. And Seth's so good at this point, he could take the L and it won't hurt him. Seth won't get buried from that. So it's perfect to set that up. But then Cody eliminating Logan Paul, which is funny because a couple days after the Rumble, Cody was on Logan's podcast impulsive. And they talked about that. Like they literally did a video where Cody's like, yeah, I just wrapped up here. And we talked a little bit about the Rumble and the fact that I eliminated him. And Logan went, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. You did my show. We're even. I was forgiven. You did my show. So they were kind of laughing about that in there. But Cody getting the win. Here's the thing. I knew Cody in the back and I was going to win. I made the pick. Gunther gave me doubts.
I know.
Oh my God. I thought for a second they're going to give it to him. And here's the thing. And this is one of those, I'm going to use a boxing phrase here to commemorate this. Cody won the fight. Gunther won the night. He got more of a shine in this match than Cody did.
Agreed.
And because Cody's going to Mania, so he's already good. He's got the match with the Tribal Chief. I loved his promo on Monday because Cody not only has the story, as I mentioned before, winning the title they took from my dad in the Garden, he also blended together of a story with him and Roman because Cody's thing is wrestling has more than one royal family.
Sure.
And I'm now standing across the ring from another royal family. So as I said before, families collide. They're going with the story as I called last week as on top of that. So they got the beautiful thing right there. But Gunther, he got the standout from the entire wrestling world. Triple H is in high praise. So he's still the Intercontinental Champion. But trust me, once Cody gets what's deserved to him, the dethroning of the Tribal Chief, don't be surprised if Gunther is the next guy to maybe take it from Cody.
Oh yeah.
Gunther's
because
getting a
he
push
was there
from this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Trust me. Gunther's not going to the main event of WrestleMania, but WWE is damn sure not sleeping on him.
Oh, for sure. Agreed.
So that's what stood out to me in the Rumble.
Oh, I think you pretty much hit it all on the head. The one moment that you didn't mention was when everybody's so excited. Baron Corbin's so hyped. He's got JBL pushing him out. Here he comes down the longest ramp since WrestleMania 1 or 2. Back when Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T and all them were going down. It literally looked like a quarter mile of a walk. I was like, are they going to make it down there? If it was Undertaker, he'd still be on his way down to the ring.
Well, maybe not. But, that's why he's doing the American Badass. It's like, dude, you need a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You can't be
get on down there,
like
Kid Rock. down on your chopper, all the way down. But it was great because Corbin didn't even have a fighting chance. And that was so beautiful how they did it because he's the perfect stooge right now. And JBL is like the perfect manager for him. You know what I mean? It's just, I love what they're doing there because that's exactly what Corbin should be and is. It works for him. So that was the moment that I loved, but everything that you mentioned, obviously there. So the next match, the ladies match, we talked a little bit about that. Rhea Ripley getting a huge win. This is big for her. It's big for Judgment Day. As that stable continues to progress up. So like you said, she beat Liv Morgan. You don't have to live the live life in 2023 and beyond, Booch. But you do have to acknowledge the Eagles. So continue to remember that throughout the show here.
My extended family lives in Philly. So the Eagles are like number 4 on the list in the family.
Nice.
Because it's like the Broncos are number 1 because that's my team. The Giants are number 2. That's my dad and brother's team. 49ers are number 3. That's my mother. And the Eagles are the rest of my family. So
wow.
Those are the 4 main. If any of those teams are in the Super Bowl and they're not playing the Broncos, I cheer for them. So if it was Eagles versus Broncos, I'd have Denver stuff on right now. But because it's Eagles and the Chiefs, I'm with you.
Except you don't have Eagles stuff on right now.
I don't own any Eagles merch. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Do yourself a favor. Tell them the Wenz sent you. They'll charge you 10% more. But as far as this match goes, it was great, man. Like this, there were a lot of really cool spots. At first I thought, oh God, Asuka's gonna win. Oh God, here comes Asuka. Don't do it, please. And then the mist went in the wrong direction, and then I knew she wasn't gonna win. And then I had a moment of relief, and then it was Rhea Ripley time. But so much more happened before the very end, out on the outside on the apron, outside the ropes. Booch, what are your thoughts on this ladies match?
Well, first of all, I literally, as I mentioned this off the air, so I'll mention it on the air. The moment that Rhea at the end is dangling from the rope and I saw Liv trying to rip her hands off, if she had won this thing, I was ready to just knock my mom. I was ready to just destroy the studio. You guys would have seen on the Twitch channel me just breaking shit all over the place, and
Nice.
Desmond trying to calm me down, or taking his son, aka my nephew, and like cowering him, like covering over him as I'm just breaking shit everywhere. Because I had Dez and my nephew / his son.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's his son, my nephew, Dax, who, by the way, side note, he's going to be making an outro for my YouTube channel. Because
Nice.
this is a 7-year-old, and he literally looked in the camera. I said, "Hey, Dax, say hello to everybody." And he went, "Everyone," and I did not tell him to do this. He did this on his own. He went, "Please like and subscribe and comment below. The link's in the description." And Desmond and I just fell out laughing. Because that's all
awesome.
the stuff I say at the end of my videos. He's telling everybody, subscribe now. And I didn't tell him to do that.
That's awesome.
I love this kid. So, but anyway, so Rhea Ripley won. I was happy. What I loved the most was, because Wenz does this thing where he texts me sometimes during the show.
Yeah, and Booch does this thing where he doesn't text me back.
I'm sorry. I don't catch them till later.
It's okay.
If you're in the chat room, I can respond easier.
You never respond there either. Every
Yes, I
time
do.
I've ever
I
been
talk.
in there, nobody ever responds. So I'm like, I'm not staying here. I'm not staying on your waiting room. I'll stay in my own living room. Live my life. I'll live the live life out here.
All right. But there's one text he sent me that that stood out to me the most. Zoe Stark. Wow, very impressive.
Yo, yes. Okay, let's talk about some Zoe now. Because
Zoe Stark.
I didn't know, Booch. Again, I don't watch NXT. So seeing her, and she has the physicality. She's like aerodynamic, she's acrobatic, she's everything. She's the total package. You know, if Lex Luger had female parts, it would be her.
Yeah. And here's the thing. She was a great baby face, but then when she turned heel, she became a 10 times better heel. So she can work both. And she's been amazing in NXT. Roxanne Perez was also in there. I'm mixed up with Roxanne Perez. Like, I think she's great. I don't think she's there to be NXT Women's Champion, but as most people know, the only reason she got the title so early was because they fired Mandy Rose. So they put the belt on her and then fired Mandy over the pictures and the third-party stuff. That was interesting. What stood out to me, though, I love the fact that out of all the NXT people, they brought in Indy Hartwell, who I'm praying to God gets a call up, because she's been jobbing every week on TV. And usually when someone's jobbing like that, they're either dropping the ball or they'll have to call somebody up, and you're putting people over on the way out. So, and Indy needs the call up because A, she's talented, B, she's gifted, and C, in a kayfabe storyline, this is not real, this is the kayfabe WWE world, she's married to Dexter Lumis. Because before Dexter got fired during the Vince McMahon run, and then Triple H, when he took over, hired him back. Before they were fired, they had a wedding on NXT, and they were called Index and had this great storyline relationship, but they never really ended the marriage. Like, they had a moment where Dexter showed up, gave a note to Indy because he doesn't talk, and basically said, "I'll see you soon," or whatever. So Dexter went up to the main roster. He's been up there. I want to see Indy get called up just to see where that goes, because I'm thinking for WrestleMania, if they were still doing the storyline, put Indy and Dexter against Miz and Maurice. There's a match right there. That'd be great. So I'm hoping for that. So I love seeing Indy. Of course, you know, Dana Brooke was okay. Shayna did great. Piper Niven, thank God they got rid of the Dewdrop name.
I was like, what happened to the Dewdrop?
They finally got rid of that stupid fucking name that I've hated so goddamn much. That's how bad. I had to drop an F-bomb. I hate it that much. Piper Niven deserves so much better. Thank you, Triple H, because I know that was his doing. Tamina, great to see her. The returning Chelsea Green, love that. For those of you who don't know, she is not kayfabe, real life, married to Zack Ryder. There's actually rumors that him, or as he's now called, Matt Cardona, might be coming into WWE as well, because he actually trademarked the name Zack Ryder recently.
Oh, wow.
He has it. He now owns the name Zack Ryder. WWE doesn't. He trademarked it. So, shot that he might come back. Don't know for sure. Hated that she got eliminated in 5 seconds, but great to see her. Michelle McCool wasn't shocked on that. But I know there's one moment that made the Wenz very happy, and I want to let you talk about it. Number 30,
Listen,
Nia Jax.
All right, before we get to Nia Jax, and that was a sweet moment, Boots, because they need more big girls in WWE. They need more bigger. It's the reality of life. Like, and they make interesting opponents for the skinny. You got to have that brawn versus brains, and that nimble and thin and quick versus just that pure raw force, the irresistible force, an irresistible force like Nia Jax coming in at 30. But what the biggest insight and takeaway from this match, Booch, is that the number one entrant in this match was the winner.
Yeah.
Right. Much like the 1 seed in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, the winner, they win, and Rhea Ripley won, and she deserved to win because she came in at number 1, unlike Cody Rhodes, who came in at 30, call back to that men's match. But this is not an arguable point. It's just facts. It's numbers, it's data, and it drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
That when storyline takes precedent over logic.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there are a lot of people that aren't buying into the Cody Rhodes push for Mania. A lot of people especially on Twitter, want Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. And why not? Why not ride the hot hand? Like, or at least make it a triple threat. Like, take the heat off of Roman and take the heat off of Cody.
Well, I've heard a rumor, and or somebody pitched this idea, and I think it'd be they go about it. I'm hearing that at Elimination Chamber, that's when they're going to have Roman versus Sami for the title. And then when it looks like Sami's going to win, the plan is to have Jey Uso come out because he's been conflicted this whole time.
Yeah, he walked away.
Yeah. And then they do it where it's a swerve. They think, oh, he's going to help Sami, but he turns on Sami. Roman gets the victory to get the heat in Canada. They all beat down on Sami. Kevin comes out and makes the save. Then at WrestleMania, you have Kevin and Sami versus the Usos for the tag team titles.
Oh,
I like an end to that. But to do that way they take the heat off. They put the heat back on Jey. And now Sami has to get revenge on Jey because he cost him the title.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like that a lot.
I don't know if this is going to happen, but I feel like that's the best way to end that. But
it's so good they won't do it.
It's so good they won't do it.
So perfect they'll mess it up.
But that's the thing, and to make that work. And also Rhea coming in at number 1, she's the first woman to ever win at number 1, but she's the 4th person overall to win at number 1. Only 4 people have done that, and that's Shawn Michaels. I had to mention his name, but I hate doing it. Chris Benoit, Edge, and Rhea Ripley. And of course, Rhea, she already made it clear that at WrestleMania it's going to be her and Charlotte Flair. Not surprised because we've already handed Charlotte a title. Might as well hand her a WrestleMania main event on top of that. Put the icing on the damn cake. So she gets handed everything else. Might as well make it a perfect trip to Mania. So Rhea chooses Charlotte. That's why the winner of the Elimination Chamber women's chamber match will face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. So those are the matches set up there. So that's the thing, and that's what I love, because now we already know here are WrestleMania main events right here. We don't have to wait and stall, because I hate that. Why are you waiting? Why are you stalling? Just do it. So I love that. So for the women's match, that's what stood out to me. Like, I love the fact that Rhea won. I love seeing the NXT girls, the return of Nia Jax. Just those are the moments that made it memorable. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that means that we're going to see a lot more of Nia Jax in the future, which is great, because the ladies division needs some more help here. Desperately. So since we're talking about the ladies, let's go ahead and keep it on that topic. We had the EST, the strongest, the fastest, the best, taking on Little Miss Bliss, who, by the way, seems very conflicted nowadays, Boo. She's been just impacted by this new and weirder Bray Wyatt. I'm interested to see what they do with this. Again, this is after Rumble. I haven't caught up on the latest SmackDown. I'm halfway through Raw from the week after Rumble. So yeah, context there for knowing what I know, seeing what I've seen and haven't seen. So
I kind of like what they could do with this, Booch. We've talked about it before, but I knew this is going to be a dub for Bianca, and it kind of had me worried for a minute because Bliss looked like she was in control for much of the match, and then
Yes.
KOD out of nowhere, and then whoop, here we are.
Yeah, I was, and everybody knows I love Bianca Belair. I have sang her praises multiple times on this show. However, they should have pulled the trigger with Bliss. It makes no sense. Why are they dragging this out is what I don't know. This is the issue I have with a lot, and I'm all for slow burn storytelling, but there's a fine line between slow burn and just being a tortoise walking through the forest. It's like, it's ridiculous. Like after a certain point, it's like, this is the time to pull the trigger. If not now, then when? Like it's insane. Like they're waiting, they're stalling. I don't know why. It's not helping anybody. And then all of a sudden they bring out the Uncle Howdy thing and they're trying to get that over. But it's like, what is the point of me even listening to this Uncle Howdy thing if Bliss is just going to job every week? What is the point of this? And Uncle Howdy can't get involved because it's a guy and the guys and the girls don't mix it up. So it makes no logical sense for him to help her out. So they're literally backing themselves into a corner, and they're getting to the point where if you do, it's like one of the things where you play keep away. If you do it too long, eventually the guys are going to go, you're not going to give it to me. I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like they're walking that line where fans are not going to care anymore. This would have been the perfect time for Bliss to snap, pull the trigger. Maybe the Uncle Howdy distracts Bianca and Alexa won. Like Alexa should have walked out with the women's title. People are already sick of Bianca's title reign. It's gotten stale. They're itching for someone new, and Bliss has the perfect gimmick, especially with the way they're treating Bray Wyatt. Because I can't wait to get to that match because you got a lot to say, and damn sure so do I. But I felt like this match should have went Bliss's way, and it was disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head. Yeah, she was in charge much of the match. But hey, I got swerved, so kudos to them for doing that to me because this is what we call for. I got what I asked for. Careful what you wish for, right? So let's get to it, right? The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. I couldn't see it. I mean, a lot of it was like hard. You can see the outline and what's going, but if you really are a fan of what you like, the nuances, and you want to see what they're doing, you want to see them talk to each other, you want to see the chemistry, it wasn't there. And I felt like this is going to sound a little harsh, but I feel like they were kind of overdoing it and overcomplicating it and somewhat compensating for the uncertainty around this match. Like, I don't know what the Mountain Dew glow in the dark thing has to do. I know that's what it does to my kidneys and liver on the inside. If I drink it, it kills you. So maybe this is a PSA from,
Mountain
all
Dew.
things right in the world. I don't know, but what I could see of the match was much of what happened after. Let's talk a little bit about before we get to the after. There was a lot of cool little spots. Like what I did see, the kendo stick was fun. There was a lot of treachery outside the ring. It was just at first, I just felt like it was overhyped for what was given to us. But again, many of Bray Wyatt's best matches happen after the match is over. And we saw it. We saw Uncle Howdy up on the top. We saw him with the elbow land 5 feet away. But that's what they have to do that. I get it. But I hate it when the announcers make us feel stupid. Like, oh, thank God he missed him. That would have killed him. Like something like that. Like, oh, okay. Because it was just so bad. It was just like, okay.
Well,
but again,
you can't fault the commentators for that. Their job is to cover up whatever mistakes are happening. If they acknowledge the mistakes, they get in trouble. So they have to go out there and cover up whatever the issue is, or if a match is boring and no one cares, their job is to make you care. Yeah. I know this from doing commentary in the past. There are times I've been watching matches like in my head going, this is bad.
But you got to keep going. Oh wait, we got to keep going too. I got 5 minutes.
I got it.
But you're right. But you have a lot to say about this match, so go ahead.
Yeah. I get why they did everything. My 2 biggest complaints are the fact that this was a squash match basically 5 minutes and 5 seconds of our lives we can't get back. And the fact that the person getting squashed is LA Knight. If the whole thing was going to be built up to Bray Wyatt just beating, victimizing, and conquering somebody in the ring in 5 minutes,
Baron
and then
Corbin.
having Uncle Howdy do a lame elbow drop onto a crash pad and miss him by a mile and have things burst into flames that make no damn sense. Why couldn't you get somebody like a Ricochet or a Mustafa Ali
Baron
or an
Corbin.
R-Truth, someone who doesn't matter,
Yeah.
who's not getting any main event pushes and doesn't deserve one? Why do it to LA Knight, who, as I mentioned before, has all the tools to be a main eventer? This guy is literally everything that Triple H and Vince McMahon both are looking for in a superstar, and yet he is jobbing week after week after week. Especially after he had to redeem himself, as I mentioned before, from the Max Dupree bullshit. And now they want him jobbing to Bray Wyatt like this. It was stupid. It was pointless. It elevated Bray Wyatt, but it buried somebody who, again, unlike Bray, can be a main event star and draw money. Bray Wyatt is more of a character than a wrestler. And I don't hate Bray. And I don't hate characters either. If a character's great and can be entertaining and tell a story, I'm all for it. But Bray is not a guy you're going to put the world title on and build the whole company around. Yeah. He serves a purpose, but that's the top spot's not it.
Agreed.
LA Knight can be a top spot guy. Why do that to him? Make the match, or at least make the match longer. Make it look like LA Knight's going to do some damage, and then Bray runs all over him. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Or at least let LA Knight win the match and then have Bray snap after the match and inflict maximum punishment on LA Knight.
Yeah.
And set it up for a rematch at Mania. They kind of already burned the candle at both ends with this, so to speak. And it is unfortunate because a lot of people haven't discovered what you've discovered with LA Knight, and they've already squandered that. So tough luck. Hopefully they learn from that mistake. Maybe the next one will be a Pepsi Clear match so we can see all the moves. We'll find out. Time will tell. Roman Reigns, though, let's get back to that storyline because this is the biggest one. We'll save the best for last here. Got the big win over Kevin Owens. And this was a match where, again, just solidifies the point that there is no such thing as a finisher anymore. Nothing matters. There's nothing sacred in terms of a finishing move or a special move or anything. I mean, how many Superman punches, how many stunners, how many of this, how many of that? I love it and I hate it. I'm just going to say I'm conflicted about it because when the guy that I want to lose, loses, it's great. But when he doesn't, it's very unfortunate. And when he kicks out of a finisher, I'm like, that's nonsense. So there was a lot of that with this. But really, the match was okay. But what happened after the match was what was really special, Booch. And we got a couple minutes to dissect that. But what do you want to say about the match itself before we get to that?
It did what it was supposed to do. Create doubt and have you on the edge of your seat. Mm-hmm. You didn't know who was like. We both knew Roman was going to win from an analyst standpoint, but when that bell rang, there was a moment where it's like maybe we're not getting the points on this. Maybe Kevin's going to do it, and then seeing Sammy telling Kevin, "Stay down, stay down."
Yeah.
Where Sammy's, or even the moment where he's not sure if he's going to give him the chair, and then finally he hands Roman the chair,
and that almost cost Roman Reigns too, because that delayed.
And there were moments where it's like, oh, maybe this is the moment where Sammy accidentally cost him the title or something. Like it was an on the edge of your seat match, which you don't get often during this Roman title run. Mm-hmm. It's happened on a few occasions. This is one of the rare ones. And out of all the matches Kevin and Roman had, this is the best one. They made up for the botched last man standing match and whatever match they had before that, or Royal Rumble years ago, which was at best. This was the best showing for both of them. And in the end, Roman got his win. And let's get into what happened afterwards.
Yeah. I didn't see first of all, when he got hit in the back with a chair, I didn't think. I thought that there was just going to be an absolute like melee in the ring, but I'm glad they didn't because it was a thoughtful reaction. Like Jimmy was pissed, obviously, and he took it immediately, and then Solo came in and did his business, which ironically, like he inflicts the least amount of pain with that little thumb thing across the chest. I just feel like it's interesting, but anyway, I digress. But Roman, I feel like if anything, it was more emotionally painful. But honestly, I felt like the chair shot, just rewatching it, because I watched it a few times. Initially, you think, oh, he was on Kevin Owens' side the whole time. You see, hit him in the back with the chair. I don't think the chair shot was about that. I don't think it was about siding with Owens. I think it was about like, dude, stop pushing me around. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be part of your family, but you're not gonna do that, and I'm not gonna let you do that. And I'm gonna show you by hitting you. Now, did he handle it? He handled it the way they have to handle it in light of we don't know what we don't know in terms of matches, but it sets it up for a beautiful thing if they can capitalize on it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. And I also loved that Sammy took his ass whooping like a man. Like you have to take that in the middle of that ring, and he did. And I love that Jay walked away conflicted. He just rolled out of the ring and walked up the ramp. It was the longest walk I've ever seen. And Roman just standing there like, what? Like what? You know, dropping petals on Sammy's lifeless carcass in the center of the canvas. Again, excluding anything after that match beyond that evening, it was very moving because we see at that moment that the end of Feeling Usi for Sami Zayn, unless there's some sort of magical resurrection of this faction. But this sets up one of two things, like you said, Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, with some interference run by Jey Uso, or what I think would be better is you split the Usos up and you have Jey and Sammy form a tag team, and then you have Solo and Jimmy team up, and then you have those two tag teams beef. That would be so solid. They'll never do it.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see. I definitely, and I will say, like, it was perfect. Like they're beating the hell out of Kevin with the super kicks and everything.
Yeah.
They're beating him to death with the chair. Paul Heyman pulling out the handcuffs. They're cuffing Kevin to the thing.
Beautiful.
And then Sammy like stepping in, but not turning on the tribal chief just yet. Like he's not stepping in there. He's just saying, he's like, he's had enough. We've made our point, which you see happen a lot. A lot of times when someone's getting beat down, eventually somebody comes in and goes, all right, man, he's had enough. He's made his point. We don't have to kill him. And he's telling him, you're the tribal chief. You're better than this.
Yeah.
This is beneath you.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this. We've already,
right.
He's done. Let's just leave.
Right. You do it.
And then Kevin's finally saying, you do it. Sam's like, I don't want to do it. And he's finally like, you can do it. And he's telling him like, he doesn't love you. I love you. You're like my family. It's so good. Because now Sammy's sitting there and so now he's hearing all this stuff about Roman saying, I love you, which is what he wanted, the acceptance of the bloodline. So they see that moment where he wants to hit him, but just the history with Kevin, he can't bring himself to do it while he's down. Like if he wasn't handcuffed, he's just standing in the ring, Sammy would have clocked him, no problem. But he's already, he doesn't feel like it's done. We don't need to kill him anymore. And they're right, the shoving and everything, and the chair shot to the back, and the way Roman fell is exactly how Seth hit him when the Shield broke up. It was exactly the exact movement, the exact fall, like hitting the knee, falling into the ropes. Oh my God. And then the Usos having the same reaction Dean Ambrose had when he looked at Seth, like, what the hell? The only difference is it was more emotional. Like Sammy drops the chair, looks at Jey, tells him he's sorry. Jay's damn near crying. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he's like, I went to bat for you. What are you doing? And they're having that moment. And Jay and Jimmy's just like, to hell with this, kicks him and says, he's not your brother. I am. And just beats the hell out of him. And then the Samoan spike by Solo. And Jay's just like, he doesn't know what to do. Because it's like, because he told, this is the guy who told him on the Go Home Raw, I love you.
Yeah.
And now he just saw him hit the tribal chief. Jay just leaves. He don't know what the hell to do.
But I think he left because he was conflicted because he saw what Sammy was going through. It was just
Yeah.
like, if that were me, I mean, probably wouldn't hit him with a chair, but I can understand why you would in that moment. You know, it wasn't again, I don't think it was a turn against Roman. It wasn't a I was on Kevin's side. Oh, look, it was moving, it was touching. It was exactly what they needed to do. But yeah, I loved how it all ended. So we have a lot more to get to. We're going to get to more of that. We have Elimination Chamber coming up, Fast and Furious. A couple things before then, Boosh, that we'll never, ever forget to do, and that is to stay true to you by saying, have a nice day.
And of course, bang, bang.